wake up in the morning and think the future's going to be great. And that's what being a spacefaring civilization is all about.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Are you ready for the future? Because since 2012, SpaceX has been working on a spacecraft vehicle with only one goal in mind: making life multi-planetary. SpaceX aims to make life multi-planetary by first colonizing Mars. And SpaceX's goal to make life multi-planetary heavily relies on Starship. Starship is engineered for reliability and features reusable components that significantly reduce costs and enhance safety. Its robust design and rigorous testing make it a dependable vehicle for ambitious interplanetary missions, like going to Mars. And at the time of recording, SpaceX has spent a staggering $5 billion in the Starship program, with estimates suggesting that the total cost of research and development could be at around $10 billion, which is a substantial amount of money. So why does Elon Musk and SpaceX even plan to go to Mars in the first place? Well, the mission to Mars might actually be more important than you might think.
What that actually could mean then is that sort of civilization and consciousness is like a tiny candle in a vast darkness, and a very vulnerable tiny candle that could easily get blown out. And I think we should therefore take great care with what may very well be this tiny candle in a vast darkness, and make sure that it does not go out, and that we extend the light of consciousness beyond Earth, and do everything we can to ensure that the light of consciousness does not go out.
What Elon means is that us humans may just be the only living being that will ever happen. Ever. And we need to do everything we can to expand our presence across the solar system and beyond. He sees humanity as a little candle of consciousness that could go off at any time, whether by a nuclear war, a pandemic, or potential asteroid impacts. And the scariest part is that Earth has had these near-extinction experiences before. And so, Musk envisions a future where humanity is not confined to a single planet, but has the capability to thrive in multiple locations across the solar system to avoid humanity going extinct. And through SpaceX's ambitious projects, like the Starship program, Musk seeks to make interplanetary travel possible, ultimately working towards a self-sustaining colony on the Moon, Mars, and beyond. But how exactly is SpaceX going to do that? Well, first of all, let's start with the vehicle that is going to take us to Mars in the first place, Starship. Starship is part of a two-stage system consisting of the Starship spacecraft and the Super Heavy booster, both of which are designed to be fully reusable. This reusability is central to achieving one of Elon's goals: to reduce costs significantly, as both stages can be launched, landed, and quickly prepared for the next mission, unlike traditional rockets, like the SLS or Saturn V, that are often discarded after a single use, wasting a lot of money in the process, and making it more expensive and difficult to make interplanetary missions. This limitation drives up costs significantly, which is what Elon and SpaceX is trying to fix. But not only does this increase prices, but it also makes it nearly impossible to transport the large quantities of equipment and materials required for a Mars colony. That's where Starship's carrying capability becomes a game changer. Starship has the capability to carry 150 metric tons into low Earth orbit. Such capacity is crucial for transporting the materials necessary to build a self-sustaining colony on Mars, including life support systems, habitats, and tools for construction and maintenance. It can also carry up to 100 passengers and features spacious interiors to accommodate the crew, and storage for supplies. And this design of Starship also includes the potential for artificial gravity systems to combat the effects of long-term weightlessness. This is going to stop the astronauts' face from puffing up when they're in space. One of the most exciting features is the ability to refuel in space. One of Starship's innovative features is orbital refueling. Orbital refueling is like filling up your car's gas tank, but in space. Here's how it works. After launching into space, Starship will meet up with a tanker version of itself that's already full of fuel. These two starships will then dock or connect in orbit, kind of like two cars pulling up side by side at a gas station. Once they're connected, the tanker pumps fuel into the other starship, you know, the one that's heading to Mars or whatever. This allows the main starship to top up its tanks, so it has enough fuel to travel and reach Mars. It's a clever way to make long-distance space travel more efficient, as the spacecraft doesn't need to carry all the fuel from Earth. It can get a refill once it's in space. Now for the material, SpaceX was initially going to use carbon fiber, but instead chose to use stainless steel due to its high heat resistance, strength at high temperatures, and cost effectiveness. Stainless steel can withstand the extreme temperatures of re-entry that can peak up to 2,000 degrees Celsius without losing structural integrity and with only a thin layer of heat shield to protect it, unlike carbon fiber, which would require expensive, complex heat shields. It's also cheaper, easier to manufacture, and more durable, making it ideal for the reusability needed in SpaceX's frequent launch and landing vision. While heavier than carbon fiber, stainless steel's durability and simplicity in handling extreme heat and cold outweigh the benefits of a lighter material. Moving on to the Super Heavy booster, which is the first stage of SpaceX's Starship system, designed to launch Starship into space, with its 33 Raptor engines producing over 16 million pounds of thrust. At 230 feet tall and also made of stainless steel, it is fully reusable. After separation from Starship, the Super Heavy booster comes back, and instead of landing, it gets caught by two giant arms that Elon calls chopsticks. This really helps by significantly reducing costs. Super Heavy is equipped with grid fins for flight control and using methalox for efficiency. Together with Starship, they form a 394-foot-tall rocket system, making it the tallest rocket ever built and essential for SpaceX's interplanetary goals. Okay, so here's how it's going to play out. The Starship will launch atop the Super Heavy booster, which will provide the necessary thrust to escape Earth's gravity. At exactly 159 seconds in flight, Starship will separate from the booster at a high altitude and enter low Earth orbit. Once in orbit, Starship will conduct an orbital refueling operation, transferring fuel into the main Starship. After refueling, Starship will prepare for its interplanetary trajectory toward Mars. And believe it or not, that's the easy part. The hard part is still to come. The Mars landing. This is where everything can go wrong. But SpaceX has already practiced the landing here on Earth. In this chapter, there are three phases: the orbit, approach, and the landing. Let's start with the orbiting phase first. When Starship arrives at Mars, it will enter an elliptical orbit, which is an oval or egg-shaped orbit around the planet. This orbit helps SpaceX control the spacecraft's speed and position, gradually lowering its altitude as it prepares to land on Mars. This orbit also maximizes fuel efficiency, and I'll explain how in the next phase. As Starship approaches periapsis in its elliptical orbit, the spacecraft dips into the atmosphere and experiences drag, utilizing Mars's thin atmosphere to reduce its velocity gradually. This will help maximize fuel efficiency as it doesn't have to use fuel to decelerate. This process is known as aerobraking, which uses the friction from the atmosphere to slow down, minimizing the need for additional fuel consumption. And by carefully repeating this, Starship can reduce its speed and altitude for a safer descent. It can take several days for the Starship to slow down enough before it can move on to the next phase, the landing. Once Starship has slowed down enough through aerobraking, it begins the landing sequence. Starship will initiate a belly flop maneuver. It'll orientate itself horizontally with its side filled with heat shields facing down. This configuration maximizes drag and stability during the descent. When it's close to the surface, the engines reignite to flip Starship into a vertical orientation and execute a soft landing on Mars, landing upright on its designated landing legs. Once on Mars, SpaceX plans to implement planetary resource utilization, which involves mining local resources to support future missions. This includes extracting water from Martian ice deposits and utilizing the carbon dioxide in Mars's atmosphere to create fuel through a process known as the Sabatier reaction, which combines hydrogen with CO2 to produce methane and oxygen. This innovative approach not only supports sustainable human presence on Mars, but also significantly reduces the need to transport all the necessary fuel and resources from Earth, making Mars missions more feasible and cost-effective in the long run. To help humans survive on Mars, SpaceX is gearing up to use some fancy tech, like solar energy, habitats, and food production systems. Solar power will probably be the go-to energy source for Martian colonies, since it's lightweight and works pretty well in Mars's conditions. Those solar panels will be crucial for running the essentials, like life support and keeping the habitats cozy, because no one wants to be stuck in a freezing spaceship trying to binge-watch their favorite shows. As we look toward a multi-planetary future, it's clear that the journey SpaceX is pioneering isn't just about rockets. It's about humanity's potential to explore beyond our home planet. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey of discovery. If you'd like to get your own model of the SpaceX rocket, there's a link in the description to check it out. And if you enjoyed this dive into the world of space exploration, consider subscribing for more content like this. Let's keep reaching for the stars together.